Hi, everyone, and good afternoon. Good afternoon for those of you who are here in Orange County, California. And I am Attorney Yael Brudner, and I am here to talk about a great topic, to answer a question that we get really all the time at our office. How to prove to immigration that your marriage is real. Now, who does this apply to? This applies to people that are in the process of or thinking of filing a marriage-based petition with immigration. So the marriage-based petition, one of the requirements is to file Form I-130. And with the Form I-130, you have to show and you have to prove that you have a bona fide or a real and true marriage. Okay, so I am going to talk a little bit today about what is the best way to approach this. How do you prove that your marriage is real on paper? How do you prove that your marriage is real at your interview? Because remember, if you're filing an immigration case, a marriage case, you are going to have an interview, and an officer is going to interview you and your spouse, the couple, to see if you qualify and if your marriage is real. I am live right now, streaming on multiple platforms. If you have any question, please feel free to write your question in the comments, and I would love to answer them as they go. Okay, so let's jump in right away. How to prove to immigration that you have a real marriage. So the technical language talks about bona fide marriage or bona fide relationship, and you need to prove that your marriage is real. You don't need to prove that your marriage is wonderful, that it's great, that you don't have problems. You just need to show that it's real. And how do you show that a marriage is real? And, one of the challenges is that when you file your petition with immigration, you're filing a paper. You're filing a petition, an application, you're mailing it out, and you need to show on paper that you have a real marriage. So how do you do that? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you some examples. So you're going to file Form I-130, that's the petition, and with the petition, you're going to include documents that provide evidence that can show that you are a real couple. And how do you show that on paper? So I gave some examples here. Joint documents. Okay, what kind of joint documents? Documents that have both of your names on it. Okay, if you're thinking of filing a case with immigration soon, start right away. Start writing everything on both your names. Okay, this could be tax returns. This could be leases for your apartment, for your house, if you're renting, a mortgage on your names, insurance policies, if you guys list each other as beneficiaries, bank statements, showing that you have a joint account on both of your names, photos of the couple together. And, photos are where we can really show, true relationship. And I like to recommend to my clients when we prepare for immigration interviews is that, show photos or send photos that are hard to fake, right? Because if it's the photos are just of the couple and just the background is changing, today you can fake anything, you can do different backgrounds, you can change things up. Really show photos that are hard to fake. And when I say hard to fake, I say, for example, with other people. So with friends, with family members, during holidays, so Christmas, Hanukkah, birthday parties, celebrations, weddings, pictures of your wedding is very important. Anything that really shows that you guys are a real couple, because a real couple will, celebrate and be together on major events. With the photos, I always recommend to label the photos, so to label who's in the photo. So, visit to San Francisco with Aunt Marie, okay? And then the picture of the couple and a picture of Aunt Marie, okay? Just for an example. Or Christmas 2019, and then a picture of the family next to the tree. Okay, so really label the photos so that the officer that is reviewing your case can kind of get into knowing you a little bit and can get a feel of, who you guys are as a couple. Okay. Let's see. There's a question here on TikTok asking about if we only have photos together and no other documents, can we get the visa or not? So, if you only have photos, it's difficult. You might have a harder time proving your marriage is real. Photos are great, but just photos is not really enough. You're going to want to show more. The officer is going to want to see more evidence. Okay. Sometimes when it's a new couple and they don't really have any official documents, so they don't really have a lease together on their names, they don't have a mortgage yet, they're not in the insurance policies yet. So what we recommend to do is to even show separate documents. So documents that are only on one of the couple's names, but list the address as the same address. So for example, my cell phone bill that says an address and my spouse's, utility bill says the same address. So that's evidence that will show that we live together at the same place. So, really we help our clients get creative with bringing evidence and providing documents on paper to show that you're a real couple. And then again, you can go to Costco, get a membership, put the membership on both your names. There's things that you can do to kind of improve your case a little bit on paper. Okay, because on paper, it's hard. It's hard to show that it's a real relationship. And sometimes you don't have all these documents. Okay, it's pretty easy to add each other to your account. You can go and just get that done at the bank. Tax returns, a lot of people don't have if you're a new marriage and you don't have a tax return yet with both of your names. So really, anything that you can think of, it's always better to add more than than less. So that's on paper. Okay, evidence and examples. Okay, so let's talk about if you're in person. So you already filed your paperwork, you filed your application, and now you got invited to an interview at USCIS, and you, again, are going to need to show and prove that you have a real marriage, okay? And usually, between the time that you file your paperwork and the time that you get called for an interview, there's a chunk of time that passed. During that chunk of time, I always recommend to continue to collect evidence. So have a shoebox in your house, and every time there's a letter that comes with both of your names, put it in the box, okay? Because you're going to bring that to your interview. Really keep collecting evidence, create evidence also. If you don't have that bank account on both their names, this is the time to go and get that bank account. Sometimes couples want to file really quick and they don't have time to go ahead and get things in order for the initial I-130 filing on paper. So definitely your interview is another chance to prove your case and prove that your marriage is real. Okay, so you can definitely bring additional evidence. Those pictures that you printed out, you're going to bring them. You're going to bring them in a nice album and, for the officers to review and look at. Okay, now this is super important. You are going to be asked at the interview about your relationship. Okay, I'm sure you've heard about this. I'm sure you maybe Googled and checked this out. You're gonna be asked about your relationship. Now, there are two ways in which you can be asked about your relationship. First of all, you can be asked directly questions, about how'd you meet, where'd you go for your first date, when did you guys become a couple, who proposed to who, where did you get married, what did you do after the wedding, all kinds of things. What side of the bed does she sleep in, how does he take his coffee, those kind of questions. But also, it's really tricky that they might ask you biographical questions. So for example, part of the interview is just to review and make sure that the officer has the right number, the officer has the right address, the officer has all the information correct, your birth date, your city of birth, all these information that sounds technical, right? Well, what they do is often instead of asking you, the applicant, what's your birthday, what's your birth city, what's your parents' name, all those things, they ask your spouse that. And that's a way for them to see if your spouse knows you and knows your family, knows your birthday, knows your parents' names. Okay, so these are indirect questions that do check your relationship and check if it's legit. Now, don't freak out. Don't get nervous if you went to an interview and you forgot your, the place of birth of your spouse's dad. Okay, that can happen and it's normal. You can just say, I'm so sorry, I don't remember that. But if you don't know the name of your spouse's parents, well, that can be a little bit, that can raise a red flag. Okay, so really your interview is something that you should prepare for. You should practice answering questions about each other, practice, review your application, see what you filed, see, what documents you submitted, see if there's anything else you can add to it. Okay, make sure you know all the important dates of your spouse's life, that when they came in, or if they were married before. If your spouse has kids from previous relationship, you need to know those kids' names. Sometimes, a spouse comes and gets married to a U.S. citizen. The applicant has children, but the children maybe are in a different country. Maybe they're adults already. Regardless, the U.S. citizen petitioner needs to know the names of the children, okay? So we have on our website a blog, and it's called Immigration Interview Questions, everything that you need to know. And there's examples of questions, and there's a lot of information. I linked it here on Facebook. Don't think you can see it on TikTok or other platforms, but if you are interested, you can reach out to us through our website, brudnerlaw.com, or you can call us 714-794-9366 for help with your interview and to access this blog. I think it's really helpful to kind of know what to expect at your interview and to get a feel of what kind of questions you will be asked. Okay, so really, at the end of the day, key is just to be prepared and to know each other and to practice and to bring as much evidence as you can. Sometimes at these interviews in immigration, a couple is separated. The couple are separated into different, and are asked at different times to see if they are answering the same answers to the questions. So they would ask a question to each of the couple, each of the petitioner and the beneficiary, to see if they're consistent with their answers. If this happens, don't get worried. It is totally normal, and it happens, and it can happen at your interview. Okay, so if you have any other questions, I would love to answer. I'm just checking to see if there's anything live. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any questions here. Okay, I do see a question from Madeline saying she's a U.S. citizen and the I-130 is stuck at the NVC since May. What should I do? So I-130 is the petition, the marriage-based petition that you filed for your spouse. And I'm assuming your spouse is abroad because you mentioned that your case is at the National Visa Center. In that case, I would, May, it's about 5 months. Have you heard anything from them? Have you received any emails? Have you uploaded all the documents? If you've done everything on your end, and you've submitted all the documents that are required, then I would just reach out to the NVC. There is an email there on their website that you can ask them for a status on your case. Okay, so that's a good point. If your spouse is abroad and you are filing for your spouse, then there won't be an interview. In that case, if your spouse is abroad, the paper evidence is super important because you don't have a second chance to supplement the record or to answer questions in person. So if your spouse is abroad, the I-130 is actually approved and by itself at immigration at USCIS. So really important to think about sending initially all the evidence that you can if your spouse is abroad. Okay. A service that we provide is that we do prepare clients for their interviews. We also can attend the interview with you. An attorney is allowed to attend an interview with you if you're here in the US. Even if you filed by yourself, even if the attorney did not file the case for you, you can still have an attorney, of course, prepare you for the interview, but also come with you to the interview. So absolutely reach out to us. I definitely recommend just having a prep session to really sit one-on-one with a lawyer for you to practice, because when we do these prep sessions, we actually ask you the questions, and it's great practice to see, where you guys are at. Okay. There's Angel is asking a question on TikTok. Applied on June 2019 for a green card, but haven't got anything yet, not even my work permit. Okay. That's been a while. Have you received any receipt notices? Are you sure that they got your case? Did you see that your filing fee was cashed, the check? Definitely reach out to USCIS contact center to check the status of your case. I'm sorry, you said June 2019, so that's not, that's about 4 months. It's still a little early to get the actual work permit, but you should have everything cashed already, filing fees, and you should have got a receipt notice. Okay, so you did get your fingerprints already. Okay, Angel is supplementing a little bit more information. Well, that's good. Then now you just have to wait. Work permits are taking about 5 to 7 months. Okay, so you just have a little bit more. Okay, so there's another question on TikTok that yesterday got an approval notice for the I-765. What does that mean? So the I-765, yes, that's the work permit. Great, congratulations. That means that you will get your work permit very soon. That means that your actual application for the work permit was approved, and now you should get the card. Okay, Angel is saying June 2019. Okay, I'm sorry. I was confused with a little bit with the date. June 2019, that has been more than a year and a half, not June 2020. So yes, you have a lawyer. Ask your lawyer to inquire and see what's going on. If it's been since then, that is a long time. Okay. So you are an F visa and my fiance is a US citizen and we're not sure why it's taking this long. Yeah, double check with your attorney, see what's happening. That's a little bit long to get the work permit. Work permit usually, like I mentioned, is 5 to 7 months. So you should have at least got your work permit. I'm sorry, I know it's really frustrating, when cases get stuck or you don't get information. You're waiting for it, and it's just very frustrating. Okay, so okay, there is a last question here. Is I'm on an F1 visa and I got an approval notice. Can I travel outside the country? So what approval notice? Let's see. Oh, you mean your 765 approval notice? Well, if you have a case that's pending with immigration, a marriage-based case, and you filed for a work permit and advance parole, it is absolutely, it's super important to know that you cannot travel until you get your advance parole document, the actual card that says that you can travel. It's a travel document. Now, I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend actually leaving the country unless it's necessary while you have a case pending with immigration. Because if anything, if you don't have any, if you're F1, if you're not on status and you travel, then, and you leave and something happens to your adjustment of status case, then you won't be able to come back, okay? It's really tricky. If you don't have to travel, I don't recommend it, okay? Okay. Let's see, there is a question, Mela, saying, I'm a single mom and I'm a green card holder. I applied for my mom and 2 siblings under age in 2018 and still no answer. So a green card holder cannot apply for their parents. So green card holders can apply for their spouses, and they can apply for their minor children. So I would definitely check and see if that's what you applied for. Not sure that you're qualified for that. Okay, feel free to reach out, and we can, if you want us to look into your case, you can schedule a consultation with us, and we would look into your case and make sure that everything is going on there correctly. Okay. Okay, guys, I don't see any more questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Call our office, 714-794-9366. Reach out, schedule a consultation. If you want a second opinion on your case, I would love to review your case with you and tell you, if everything's going properly, if there's anything else that you can do, if your case is stuck, why is it stuck? Is there something that wasn't submitted? If there's something that was submitted incorrectly, all of those things we can definitely check. Okay. Again, the questions about travel, do not travel until you get a travel card, so an advance parole. Usually when you file, in general, when you file for your green card, you file also here in the US, you file for a work permit and for advance parole, and you get it in one card. So you get what's called a combo card. And technically you can travel, but I don't recommend it at all unless it's an emergency. Okay. So I am going to wrap up today's live. Thank you so much for everyone that's joining. Please feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any other questions about marriage-based case or any other immigration case. I would love to help you and discuss your case more in detail. Okay, guys, so until then, I will see you very soon.